Sir Handel in charge. Sir Handel is one of the oldest engines in the hills of Sodor. He knows a lot of things, and sometimes he can be rather grand. He enjoys telling the other engines what to do, and because he is a wise engine, the other engines do as he tells them. One morning, Sir Handel puffed into the transfer yard. James was waiting.
I have to take the thing controller to a meeting with the fat controller,
snorted James. Just then, Mr. Percival arrived. He was late, and he was worried.
Sir Handel,
gasped Mr. Percival.
There's an important special today. I'd like you to be in charge of it while I'm away.
Yes, sir, chuffed Sir Handel happily. He liked the idea of being in charge. Now he could tell the other engines what to do.
Workmen must be picked up and taken to the forest,
Mr. Percival said. Sir Handel was excited.
The trucks must be taken to the forest and filled with logs,
added Mr. Percival.
Then the heavy train must be delivered back here. Thomas is coming to collect it very soon.
I'll find the very best engines, puffed Sir Handel.
Ask the first engines you see to do the special,
said the thing controller sternly. Sir Handel wasn't listening. He was thinking about telling the other engines what to do.
The job must be done very quickly,
cried the thin controller.
Don't worry,
Sir Handel hooted proudly, and he puffed away. I'm going to have a wonderful time, he whistled to himself. Up ahead, Sir Handel found Mighty Mac. He was helping workmen to lay the new track. I'm in charge of a very important special. I need an engine to pull a heavy train, Sir Handel chuffed. We can pull a heavy train, wheeshed Mighty. We're very strong, whistled Mac. But Sir Handel wasn't listening. I must find the very best engines. You must wait here, he puffed grandly. And he steamed off. Next, Sir Handel found Rusty. I'm in charge of a very important special. I need someone to pick up workmen, he puffed importantly. Rusty was very excited. I can collect the workmen, he hooted happily. But Sir Handel wasn't listening. I must find the very best engines, he huffed. Wait here. Then Sir Handel found Duncan and Peter Sam. They were racing down some twisty tracks. I'm in charge of a very important special. I need a fast engine to take a train to Thomas at the yards, chuffed Sir Handel importantly. We can pull trains faster than any other engine, Duncan and Peter Sam puffed excitedly. But Sir Handel wasn't listening. I must find the very best engines, Sir Handel steamed snootily. You must wait here. So the little engines pulled into a siding. Sir Handel felt more important than ever. Then there was trouble. Sir Handel arrived back at the transfer yards. Thomas had already arrived to collect the special. Where's my train? Tooted Thomas. Bust my buffers, cried Sir Handel. Sir Handel had spent so long looking for the very best engines, nothing had been done. Now he was very worried. Your special isn't ready, he wished sadly to Thomas. Thomas was surprised. Can you find engines to start work right away? He tooted. Then I can still deliver the special on time. This time Sir Handel was listening very carefully. He knew where all the engines were waiting. If I hurry, I can put the engines to work right away.
Leave it to me, Thomas, he chuffed.
And Sir Handel raced out of the yards. Sir Handel steamed over to Duncan and Peter Sam.
Can you work on my special? He asked.
We can pull the train along the twisty tracks to the forest, Peter Sam. Faster than anyone, added Duncan. This time Sir Handel was listening.
Please, start straight away, he wished.
And he raced off to find Rusty. Rusty was still where Sir Handel had told him to wait. I can collect the workmen, hooted Rusty, and take them to load the timber.
Please start straight away, Sir Handel huffed.
Finally, Sir Handel found Mighty Mac.
We can pull the heavy timber train to the transfer yard, wheezed Mighty. We're the strongest, whistled Mac, and they steamed off.
Sir Handel had listened carefully to everyone. Now, everyone was working.
The special will be ready for Thomas after all, he huffed.
Later at the transfer yards, Thomas's trucks had been loaded with the timber. Just then, James returned with the thin controller.
Well done,
Sir Handel, said Mr. Percival.
Did you enjoy being the engine in charge? Yes, sir, chuffed Sir Handel.
He felt very happy. He had listened to the other engines, and now he was even wiser. Cool truckings. It was winter time, and a thick blanket of snow covered the island of Sodor. Madge, the snub-nosed lorry, was making her deliveries. The icy roads were very slippy and very slidey. But Madge didn't slip and slide. She was safe and sure. One day, Thomas arrived at the transfer yards. He had to collect a large delivery of coal. Madge was there, and so was the thin controller. He was worried.
A snowslide has blocked Duncan's tracks, he said. I need him to shunt the coal trucks from the other side of the yard.
I'll get him, said Madge happily. Madge liked to be helpful.
Duncan is very heavy,
said the thin controller. Don't worry, sir, said Madge. I'll bring him here in no time. And she raced away. Duncan was winched onto Madge's trailer. Duncan was very heavy, but Madge was sure she could pull him. She roared and revved, and slowly she pulled away. Madge drove carefully along the country roads. She was being safe and sure. Soon Duncan started to tease her. You always go so slowly, Duncan laughed. We'll be lucky to get to the transfer yards by tea time. I always do my job safely and on time, said Madge. But it'll be a slow and dull journey, puffed Duncan. Not fast and exciting, the way we engines like it. Madge sighed. She didn't want to be teased anymore. She turned up a narrow mountain road. Where are we going? Duncan chuffed. I'll show you how much fun we have on the roads, laughed Madge. Wait and see. Madge was still going slowly. This isn't much fun, puffed Duncan. Maybe not, said Madge. But what about this? And Madge skidded her wheels. Her wheels made the snow spray up onto the side of the road. Whoa, hey, that was good, cheered Duncan. Do it again. So Madge sprayed snow all along the road. Duncan cheered as Madge sprayed the trees and then the bushes. She even sprayed a policeman. Sorry, said Madge. They were having so much fun, they had forgotten all about getting to the transfer yards. Thomas and the thin controller were waiting at the transfer yards, and so were the coal trucks. But Duncan wasn't there. The thin controller was worried. Now, Madge took Duncan to the top of a hill. "What are we doing up here?" Duncan puffed. "You'll see," smiled Madge. Then they raced down the hill. Madge slid around corners and skidded over bumps. "Hooray!" Duncan laughed. But halfway down the hill there was a very sharp turn, and the road was very icy. "Watch out!" puffed Duncan. "Oh no!" gasped Madge. She braked hard, but it was too late. Madge started to slip and spin around and round. They crashed through a snowbank. "But my boiler!" cried Duncan. They were hanging over the edge of the valley. Madge looked down the edge. It was a long way down. "Oh no!" Duncan moaned. "What am I going to do?" Madge groaned. Madge rocked and teetered. Slowly she revved her engine. Inch by inch, Madge reversed back onto the road again. "Phew, that was close," Duncan chuffed. Madge raced to the transfer yards, but on the way she saw another very bumpy and very slippery road. "That looks like fun," Duncan puffed excitedly. "We're late," called Madge. "I have to get you to the transfer yards to help Thomas." So Madge drove on. Madge wanted to be safe and sure. She went all the way without slipping or sliding once. Duncan was disappointed, but he knew Madge was right. He had work to do. Soon Duncan was back on the rails. He shunted the trucks quickly into place. The workmen transferred all the coal into Thomas's trucks. "Thank you, Duncan," tooted Thomas. And he chuffed away. That evening, Madge went to visit Duncan. Madge pulled into the sheds. All the little engines were there. Duncan had told them all about his day out with Madge. "Thank you for a grand time," puffed Duncan. "The roads really are as much fun as the rails." "I'm glad you had fun," said Madge. And, just for fun, Madge spun her wheels and sprayed some snow all over the little engines. Dream on. Spencer is a very special engine from the mainland. He belongs to the Duke and Duchess of Boxford. He's very fast, very shiny, and very strong. He also likes to show off. The other engines didn't like that. One day, Thomas was shunting trucks at Knapford Yards. The fat controller arrived. "The Duke and Duchess of Boxford are coming to Sodor with Spencer," he boomed. "Spencer will be very tired after his long journey, so you, Thomas, must help him." Later, Spencer arrived. Thomas was still working. "Take my carriages and shunt them away," Spencer huffed grandly. "I will when I've shunted these trucks," tooted Thomas. But Spencer didn't like waiting.
I'm faster, shinier and stronger than you, Thomas. You are just a little tank engine.
This made Thomas cross. But he remembered the Fat Controller had told him to help. So Thomas shunted Spencer's carriages safely into the sheds. When Thomas arrived back at Tidmouth's sheds, he was very tired. Spencer was already there.
Anyone can shunt trucks, wheezed Spencer, but you have to be very special to pull the Duke and the Duchess of Boxford.
This made Thomas very cross. I'll show that bossy boiler, Thomas puffed to Percy. Tomorrow I'm going to be faster, shinier and stronger than Spencer. The next morning, Thomas had to collect trucks from the smelters' yards. When Thomas reached the main line, he decided he would go faster than Spencer. Thomas puffed faster and faster. He puffed faster than he'd ever puffed before. Thomas steamed past Emily. "Slow down, Thomas," she whistled. "You'll never get round the bend." Thomas slammed on his brakes. "Whoa!" tooted Thomas, terrified. Luckily, he stopped just in time. "Maybe I can't be faster than Spencer," he chuffed, "but I can still be shinier and stronger." Later, Thomas was at the washdown. "I'd like the shiniest polish ever," he tooted. Thomas was rubbed and scrubbed until he sparkled and shone. It took a very long time. Toby pulled up next to Thomas. "Look, Toby," whooshed Thomas proudly. "I've never been so shiny." Toby had an urgent message for Thomas. "You have to shunt stone at the quarry," he steamed. "They're waiting for you now." So Thomas puffed quickly away. Thomas arrived at the quarry. "My," said Mavis, "you're the shiniest engine I've ever seen." Thomas was pleased. He puffed off proudly. Thomas's trucks were filled with stone. All his sparkle and shine had gone. Thomas was very unhappy. He steamed off with his trucks. Thomas came to Gordon's Hill. He had never puffed up it with such a heavy load. "I may not be faster or shinier than Spencer," tooted Thomas, "but I can still be stronger." The hill got steeper and steeper, and the stone felt heavier and heavier. Thomas's wheels started to spin. "Oh no!" cried Thomas. Stones tipped out of the trucks. He slid all the way to the bottom. Thomas wasn't strong enough after all. Thomas felt very, very silly. "All day I've tried to be faster and shinier and stronger than Spencer," he wished, "and I'm not." Thomas felt terrible. Next morning, Thomas knew what he was going to do. "I don't want to be faster, shinier and stronger than Spencer anymore," he chuffed. "I'm very happy to shunt trucks." Then the Fat Controller arrived.
"There is an emergency," he boomed. "The Duke of Boxford has to return to the mainland on very important business. Where are his special carriages?"
"His carriages are right at the back of the yard, sir," puffed Thomas. "But don't worry, I can shunt them to the front very quickly."
"Well done, Thomas," said the Fat Controller. "Then take them straight to Spencer."
When Thomas arrived at the sheds, Spencer's boiler was still cold. "You might be the fastest, shiniest and strongest engine, but you're the slowest to get fired up," Thomas tooted cheekily. Now it was Spencer's turn to feel very silly. Then the Duke arrived.
"Why are you not ready, Spencer? I will miss my airplane," he said sternly. "Thomas, you must take me to the airport.
Yes, sir, tooted Thomas. The Duke's special crest was placed on Thomas's boiler, and Thomas steamed grandly away. Thomas felt very proud as he raced to the airport. Thomas arrived just in time. Jeremy was waiting for them. The Duke was very pleased. "There's nothing better than an engine you can rely on," he said. "You have saved the day, Thomas." Thomas watched the Duke's plane fly away. Thomas knew he wasn't faster, shinier, or stronger than Spencer, but he was certainly reliable. And that was a very useful thing to be. Emily's rubbish. Emily is a grand green engine. She's very proud of her big wheels and her perfect polished paintwork. One morning, Emily was very excited. The Fat Controller had told her to work with a new engine. "I hope he's smart and useful," she wished. Emily met Thomas waiting at a signal. "The new engine is waiting for you at the shunting yards," tooted Thomas. "I can't wait to meet him," puffed Emily, and she chuffed away as fast as her boiler could bubble. Emily steamed into the shunting yards to look for the new engine. He was the scruffiest engine she had ever seen. "Hello, Emily," wished the new engine happily. "My name's Whiff because I'm a bit smelly. You're going to help me collect rubbish." Emily was horrified. "Come on then," she sighed. "Let's get started." Gordon was talking to James and Henry in a siding. When they saw Emily with Whiff, they laughed. "Hello," whistled Whiff. "Who's your messy new friend with the funny whistle, Emily?" snorted James. "We smelt you coming for miles," wheezed Gordon grandly. "My name's Whiff," whistled Whiff. "It suits you," laughed Henry. "Phew!" Emily was very embarrassed. She hurried away. Whiff puffed after her. Up the line, Emily and Whiff passed more engines. When they saw Whiff, they all laughed too. Emily was tired of being teased. "I must get away from Whiff," she huffed. Emily pumped her pistons. "Wait for me," whistled Whiff. But Emily wasn't going to wait for Whiff. And soon, Whiff was a long way behind. Emily was glad Whiff was gone. "It's not my fault if he can't keep up," she huffed. Later, Emily had to wait for Elizabeth at a crossing.
Where's this new engine?"
honked Elizabeth grandly. He got lost," wheezed Emily. "No, I didn't," whistled Whiff cheerfully. "Hello." "Oh," sniffed Elizabeth. "Aren't you going to introduce me to your new friend?" But Emily didn't want anything more to do with Whiff. She chuffed away as fast as her pistons would pump. "Wait for me," whistled Whiff cheerfully. Up ahead, Emily saw a branch line. "Maybe if I puff down here, Whiff won't see me." And Whiff didn't see Emily. He puffed past on the main line. Emily chuffed all around the Fat Controller's railway. She tried to hide from Whiff, but still, everywhere Emily went, Whiff always found her. In every tunnel and in every siding. At last, Emily escaped from Whiff. "Thank goodness," she wished. "Now no one will laugh at me for working with such a smelly engine." Up ahead, Emily saw Spencer. He was very cross. "I'm meant to be taking the Duke and Duchess of Boxford to an important lunch," huffed Spencer, "but my way is blocked by all these smelly rubbish trucks." "Flatten my funnel," steamed Emily. They were the rubbish trucks that Emily and Whiff should have cleared earlier. "Someone will have to move them," sniffed Spencer. Emily knew that was her job. "I suppose I'll have to move them." "Ugh!" she shuddered. Emily buffered up. She pulled as hard as she could, but the trucks were much too heavy for her to move on her own. Just then Gordon chuffed past. "Can you help me move these rubbish trucks?" tooted Emily.
"Me?"
snorted Gordon.
"Certainly not."
"Can you help me move these rubbish trucks, James?" peeped Emily.
No, thank you,"
wheezed James. Emily was upset.
"I'm still waiting,"
huffed Spencer impatiently. "If Whiff were here now, he'd be happy to help me," Emily sighed. "He wanted to be my friend, but I wasn't kind to him. I must find Whiff and say sorry." Emily looked high and low for Whiff, but he was nowhere to be seen. Then at last she heard Whiff's funny whistle. "Hello, Emily," whistled Whiff cheerfully. "I wondered where you'd got to." "I'm sorry I ran away from you," puffed Emily. "That's all right," whistled Whiff. "I'm just glad you found me. Let's go to work." Spencer was getting very impatient. "Don't worry, Spencer," tooted Emily. "Whiff is here to help now."
"Freeze my firebox,"
snorted Spencer when he saw Whiff.
"That scruffy engine can't move all these rubbish trucks."
"We're going to move them together," chuffed Emily. "Oh, thank you, Emily," whistled Whiff. Spencer watched as Emily and Whiff coupled up to the rubbish trucks and quickly shunted them away. Spencer was very impressed.
"Whiff is a very, very useful engine,"
he wished. "I know," bubbled Emily happily. "And he's my new good friend, too."